Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will begin shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Welcome to the Kupferberg Center for the Arts. The event will begin shortly, and we'd like to take a few moments to give you some important information. For your safety, emergency exits are located at the rear of the theater behind you and along the aisles on each side. Please note which exit is closest to your seat location. In addition, please be advised that the use of any audio or video recording device is strictly prohibited. As a courtesy to our performers and all of our guests, please silence your cell phones. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the event.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Queens College President Frank Wu.
Good afternoon. I am delighted to welcome all the members of our audience today, whether you're watching in person here in Lefrak or via the live stream. This is an occasion when we celebrate some of Queens College's most outstanding educators. I congratulate all of the nominees for their great command of their respective subject matters and their ability, one and all, to motivate and inspire their students. Our students. With multiple candidates from each of the college's schools, selecting our honorees was no small challenge. It speaks volumes about the quality of the world-class faculty here on our beautiful campus. We especially welcome guests of all the awardees today. We're so pleased that you are here. Joining me on stage is Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost Elizabeth Hendry, who will speak about and announce the awards. This is the first occasion that I have to publicly congratulate Betsy on her new designation as Senior Vice President, approved by the City University of New York Board of Trustees just last week. Please join me in applauding her. I'd like Betsy to take it from here. She'll be coming up to the podium. Congratulations, Betsy.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2021 Faculty Awards. Today we have the pleasure of recognizing outstanding educators at a college that's noted for the quality of its faculty. For the first time, we are presenting the Presidential Faculty Award for Diversity and Inclusion. This award celebrates achievement in advancing diversity and inclusion at the college. The honoree will receive a certificate and a monetary award of $2,500. I asked Dean Kate Pichunkina to join me on stage to present this award. The inaugural recipient of the Faculty Diversity and Inclusion Award is Shiro Withanacci, a lecturer in the Economics Department and director of the college's signature Business and Liberal Arts minor. Her extensive experience in living and working overseas has made her an authority on international business and learning, equipping her to lead the collaborative online international learning on campus through the Stevens Initiative. A compassionate educator, she connects students to programs and gives class assignments designed to help students prepare for real-world interviews. I now invite Professor Withanacci to the stage. We'll now turn to presenting the college's Excellence in Teaching Awards. This year's recipients were selected through a formal peer nomination process and collaboration with the deans of each academic school. Many talented and dedicated professors were nominated, and we salute all of them. 2 awardees were chosen in each school, 1 part-time faculty member and 1 full-time faculty member. Each Excellence in Teaching Award recipient will receive a certificate and a monetary award of $2,500. We will now recognize each 2021 Excellence in Teaching Award recipient. I will ask each school's dean to join me on stage as the awards for their school are presented and to assist us in presenting the award. Would each award recipient join us on stage after I tell you this gathering about you and your work? Now I call on Dean Bill McClure to the stage for the presentation of the School in Arts and Humanities Teaching Awards. The full-time award goes to Mariana Zinni of Hispanic Languages and Literature. She is an associate professor of Hispanic Languages and Literature, specializing in colonial Latin America. She serves as her department's undergraduate and major advisor. Fellow faculty members describe her as the kind of professor who changes the world. An excellent colleague, a great administrator, a serious and prolific researcher, and a dedicated and innovative educator. Students praise her for teaching a broad range of classes and making herself available to discuss any matter. Professor Zinni has inspired me through my career in Hispanic Languages and Literature, said one student, one of several who cited her for inspiring them to pursue advanced degrees. She is amazing, wrote another student. I invite Professor Zinni to join us on the stage. The award to part-time faculty goes to Marcela Mandrakia of Linguistics and Communications Disorders. She is an adjunct assistant professor in linguistics and communications disorders and supervises in the teacher residency program. She won raves from students for making TESOL education accessible, enjoyable, and inspiring. One student wrote that Dr. Mandrakia has provided an informative and rigorous learning experience that not only has been applicable to my full-time teaching position, but towards my character as well. Another noted, she is the most intelligent professor I've had, with a sense of humor that allows learning to become easier. Work becomes an experience that will stay with me and that I will carry into my own classroom. And I believe that she is not able to join us today. I hope she is able to watch us here from online. Congratulations, Dr. Mandrakia. And I will ask Dean McClure to give her her certificate. This is my first try at a teleprompter. It's a little ahead of me. Okay. Unfortunately, School of Education Dean Dana Fusco cannot join us today. Therefore, I call to the stage Chair Eleanor Armour Thomas for the first presentation of the Teaching Awards in the School of Education. Jacqueline Darvin, Professor of Secondary and Literary Education, is the full-time winner in the School of Education. She is the department's deputy chair and director of its 512 literacy program. She entered higher education after teaching middle and high school English for a dozen years, gaining insights that she shares with peers and students. Colleagues credit her for the national recognition afforded the literacy program, and in a time of increased reliance on remote platforms, her excellent ideas for online teaching. Jackie inspires me and the students in the literacy program every day, noted one faculty member. A student wrote that she has played a large role in my newfound understanding of literacy at the secondary level, the founding principles of a research-backed literacy program, and the relationship building that needs to happen in a school in order to carry out a successful program. I ask Professor Darvin to come on stage. I now call to the stage Chair John Pelletieri for the presentation of the second teaching award in the School of Education. It goes to Deborah Gruber of Education and Community Programs. She is an adjunct assistant professor and has been working in the fields of education and applied behavior analysis for over 30 years. Her completed research includes teaching yoga to young children with developmental delays with teachers in the school environment and parents in the home. Her dedication is evident to her student. One observed that she is very knowledgeable and passionate about ABA and special education. Her passion makes her classes engaging, they said. She provides interesting and useful resources and research to explore. She has gotten to know each one of her students, and it is clear that she cares about everyone. I invite Professor Gruber to join us on the stage. I call Dean Dan Weinstein to the stage for the presentation of the School of Mathematics and Natural Sciences Teaching Awards. The full-time winner is Scott Wilson of the Department of Mathematics. He is an associate professor specializing in topology and geometry. He's the graduate advisor for the department's master's program and a member of the CUNY graduate faculty. At Queens College, he has taught everything from freshman level courses to 700 level master's courses. He has advised several undergraduates on independent study courses on topics related to topology and algebra, and mentored independent research for students who have made presentations at undergraduate mathematics conferences. Professor Wilson made me realize that mathematics is beautiful. It is an art and a language that anyone willing to put in the required work, energy, and persistence can eventually get to not only understand, but even fall in love, commented one student. He challenged us, made us appreciate mathematics, and was always there to help us and guide us. I invite Professor Wilson to join us on the stage. The award to part-time faculty in the School of Math and Natural Sciences goes to Akina Nakayama, also of the mathematics department. She is an adjunct lecturer described as empathic, patient, and effective, traits that allow her to work with even math-phobic students. One recalled that she has made online teaching extremely organized and manageable, especially for a math class. I personally was afraid of the course because I feel that math can be difficult to learn online. But the professor's confidence and passion for the material has truly changed my perspective on the course. Other students took note of her years of service to the Queens College community, including the fact that she donated her first paycheck to the school. An alumna herself, she came to Queens as an international student, entering the Time 2000 math teaching program after faculty saw her talent for the subject. I invite Professor Nakayama to join us on the stage. And I now call on Dean Kate Pachunkana to rejoin me on the stage for the presentation of the School of Social Sciences Teaching Awards. The first, the full-time faculty, goes to James Vaca of Urban Studies. He is a distinguished lecturer, former New York City Council member, and proud Queens College alumnus. He understands his subject inside and out and makes Zoom sessions like in-person lectures. His kindness matches his knowledge and energy. Several students reported his penchant for giving out grocery store gift cards to individuals he knew to be struggling. A student who received emergency funding as well as help for day-to-day expenses credits Vaca with saving his life. At the beginning of the pandemic, I still had to go out to work to make ends meet, the student wrote. I lacked a secure safety net to ease the impact of COVID-19 on my studies and mental health. I did not even have to ask. James went out of his way to make sure I was safe and secure. I invite Professor Vaca to join us on the stage. And our last award goes to Chihiro Shibata of the Anthropology Department. She is a doctoral candidate from Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. Her research concerns golden-handed tamarin monkeys in Suriname, South America. She has impressed colleagues with her attention to minutiae others might overlook. A faculty member commended her for remembering details about every student, even in a class of 50 or more. Students with special needs get special attention. Because of my blindness, I had many concerns, one student commented. Learning about evolution requires heavily visual learning, such as graphs and pictures, which is a major challenge for me. Professor Shibata kindly sensed my difficulties and decided to invite me to the lab so that I can experience primate and human skeletons tangibly. From this experience, the world was no longer just a verbal description for me, but it became a rich, multiple sensory reality. Professor Shibata could not join us in person today, but I hope is watching this live, and I will ask Dean Pachunkana to pass on this certificate. So congratulations, Professor Shibata. This concludes the faculty awards, and I now invite President Wu to make the State of the College remarks.
Thank you again so much, Betsy. I've been thinking about the Tony Awards for a few weeks since Danny Burstein, a celebrated alumnus from the class of 1986, picked up a trophy on his 7th nomination. The Tonys, like the Oscars, have created additional awards to salute achievement outside of or above and beyond the standard categories. I wish we could do something similar. Recognize all of the people, the faculty, the staff, the students, the alumni, the Queens College Foundation board members who have been doing their part and more during these challenging times with dedication and distinction to keep Queens College thriving and flourishing. Our faculty are constantly adjusting their courses to various modes of instruction and health protocols. Buildings and grounds and public safety and information technology labor around the clock to maintain a safe and operational campus and virtual reality for us. Many other staffers routinely stay online to help assure that the college provides its standard services through these new means. Academic advisement and counseling services have maintained a rigorous schedule. Students have adapted as well to unexpected circumstances, advancing in their classes, participating in extracurricular activities such as Club Day in new formats. Last month, we celebrated the achievements of almost 4,000 students at our annual Academic Excellence Ceremony. Loyal alumni and friends of the college have been answering our call to provide increased support. One particular example highlights this commitment. Earlier this year, the Queens College Foundation, chaired by alumnus Lee Fensterstock, allocated funding for RISE scholarships, providing supplemental support to students who found themselves unable to meet the cost of higher education as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Among the RISE recipients are student athletes, our Queens College Knights, who have returned to the fields and the courts. You'll pardon me bragging a bit about them. Last spring, in shortened seasons, the baseball team made it to the East Coast Conference playoffs. The men's and women's tennis squads won the East Coast Conference and went on to the NCAA tournament. The Queens College Foundation has also helped enable the Knights Table to reduce food insecurity among students. Our food pantry gives meals and kitchen staples to any qualified CUNY student, not only those from our own college. A mobile program turning the table on hunger made stops in Queens neighborhoods so students could pick up packages closer to home. In further thought for food, the Finesse Garden donated produce grown on campus to a local soup kitchen. It was so moving to hand out the bags of food to students and their parents and siblings. I'm grateful to all of you. Your dedication and resourcefulness has inspired me over the past year and a half. And I'm happy to report that your collective efforts, our efforts, and adherence to health protocols that call for vaccinations, social distancing, and masking are making a huge difference as we endeavor to maintain a safe campus and return to it. This semester, the college has been able to hold some in-person classes and resume many campus activities, such as this one. We anticipate building on this success in the spring, increasing in-person classes to well beyond the CUNY guideline of 70%. Last time the provost and I looked, we were just at about 80%. I thank all of the department chairs and our faculty and staff for their ongoing work in assuring that we meet these goals. I'm deeply grateful as well to Chief of Staff Megan Morwilk and the Ad Hoc Committee on Reopening, which meets every Tuesday, the faculty, staff, student members, union members who have been so diligent in studying all the numbers and trends and data. They've provided invaluable advice and counsel as we continue to address the operational needs. We all know that remote learning isn't going away anytime soon. Online courses also offer convenience to many of our students who must juggle jobs and family responsibilities. Feedback from our students invariably indicates a desire for on-campus classes, and at Queens College we value the in-person experience and the energy it brings to everything from lab sciences to teacher preparation to social sciences and the performing arts. We look forward to seeing full classrooms once again and online classes where it serves the pedagogical needs of the programs. I want now to take an opportunity to thank all of you involved in the year-long effort to develop and complete a new strategic plan for our Queens College. Created with unprecedented input and participation of the extended college community, with the help of 70 members of the steering committee and working groups and 11 town halls, this plan is transformational in nature. It redefines the mission of an institution that has spent more than 8 decades changing lives by providing a high-quality, affordable education to students regardless of their background. We are convening soon a strategic planning implementation group to be led by Dean for Institutional Research, Rahel Fester. On November 30th, I will be hosting a thank you reception for members of the steering committee and working groups who contributed mightily even in the midst of a pandemic. I was recently asked by our Chancellor, Felix V. Matos Rodriguez, who preceded me here at Queens College, to serve on a new university-wide steering committee to help formulate the CUNY multi-year plan. I will proudly share our recent experience engaging with so many diverse constituencies in charting attainable goals consistent with our educational mission and our core values. Now, we're continually adjusting to the realities of the 21st century and to the needs of a city and state devastated by the pandemic and recovering even now. The Queens College of today and the Queens College of tomorrow aims to prepare students to serve as innovative leaders in a diverse world that they will help make more equitable and inclusive. As we move forward, we're promoting policies and programs that reinforce core college values, service and civic engagement, diversity, equity, inclusion, research, and scholarship, all the while fostering a welcome and supportive culture for student success. Speaking of student success, QC in 4, the program introduced in 2017, is an example already bearing fruit. From all the data available to us, compared to past student cohorts, members of the program's first cohort, which just graduated, were more likely to earn bachelor's degrees within 4 years. That timely graduation saves students money and allows them to proceed to the next stage of their lives, whether they enter the workforce or enroll in professional school or graduate programs. The QC in 4 results are so promising, we're planning a similar program, QC in 2, for transfer students. It's also attracted the attention of our friends throughout the CUNY system. As many of you know, through HSI STEM Bridges Across Eastern Queens, Queens College has partnered with Queensborough Community College to increase retention of underrepresented students in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. Under a new grant announced last month, the college will work towards similar goals in collaboration with LaGuardia Community College, with whom we're developing the Queens STEM Academy. Queens College just received a new round of Teacher Opportunity Corps funding from New York State, from the Education Department, and that means we're among only 17 institutions in this round of funding for the Teacher Opportunity Corps, which encourages individuals from historically underrepresented and economically disadvantaged groups to pursue meaningful teaching careers. I'd like to add a final word, a personal word about diversity. The concept is important to Queens College. It's important to me. It's why I'm here. I cannot emphasize it enough. Our shared future as a society depends on our ability to make real what has long been rhetorical. Never and do not now take for granted. I believe we also have an obligation to remember the very principles we embraced before we were ever offered a role such as this. When I sat, as I did for many years, as a student in the classroom or professor in the audience, I was troubled from time to time that those who stood on stage behind a podium, whom we looked up to literally, neglected to include those who were situated below. I'm an optimist, though. I'd like to close positively. Back then, and still now, I would say that people rightly are concerned about what happens on campus well beyond the content of education that is supposed to be delivered. We care very much, as we should, about the pedagogy, the techniques of teaching to ensure they are effective. When I wrote about these issues, I wrote about language, for example. That was part of my scholarship and advocacy, and I'd like to share a bit with you. As much as I'm on record as a supporter of free speech, I've been equally emphatic that words have meaning, and some terms generate negative consequences which are severe. Platitudes about the First Amendment do not adequately address the harms of the common cruelty of childhood teasing and taunting, which extends into sophisticated adult, even academic settings. Our lives, public and private, have trauma inflicted upon them on individuals, and some of this language sets up hierarchies within society. The perspective of those who make the joke and that of those who are perennially the butt of the joke are not the same. Some folks may believe, even if sincerely, that their remark is trivial. They don't realize that their reaction when an objection is raised can be quite revealing. They demonstrate their indifference in that moment. We can do better. I'm confident that we will do better. It's not just language, it's the effect of these words, how we carry ourselves on campus. That's why we created the role of a new Chief Diversity Officer, or CDO. Our model, which is unique now in the CUNY system and being emulated, is to add a senior leadership official beyond the Title IX compliance officer, who, by the way, at Queens College is the newly hired Michael Das. CUNY has long had a single CDO on each campus, responsible for an extensive portfolio of compliance and DEI matters. We now have two persons charged with responsibility in this regard. Not just compliance, but also diversity in a forward-looking sense. Following a national search, we have appointed, and I announce here for the first time, Jerima DeWeese to serve as Chief Diversity Officer. I believe she's joined us in person, and if she might stand to be recognized. Jerima? Thank you so much. I look forward to your being part of the team. Thank you, Jerima. She'll be starting on November 15th, coming to us from the SUNY system and bringing extensive experience from both public and private higher education sectors. As importantly, she's coming home. She's a Queens College alumna, and her professional experience includes a prior stint in CUNY Central. She will provide the essential leadership to help us advance diversity, equity, and inclusion as prominently and repeatedly mentioned in our strategic plan, well beyond compliance. Together, Jerima and Michael will be rolling out anti-bias training that will address not only the egregious discrimination that persists, but also implicit bias that we might not even be aware of. I look forward to it. I know that I have much to learn. I catch myself from time to time acutely aware that despite the principles I espouse, I too have those stereotypes rattling around in the back of my head that I had not even noticed until that very moment. I want to admit that openly because to live up to our ideals requires honesty. I've been honored by your welcome and your trust. That is why I want to be clear about commitments, not only mine, but ours, together. To sustain our sense of community, my respect for you, your respect for me, respect must be reciprocal. Emerging from the pandemic, our responsibilities to one another and for one another have never been more apparent than they are now. When we get vaccinated or wear a face mask, it is not for our benefit alone. It is for the benefit of our coworker, our neighbor, our families, our community. Please join me in the work that we have yet to do here at a great institution. This is our moment. In this challenging economic climate, the story of Queens College, its diversity, its track record of helping people from lower income families and middle class families who are yet still striving attain the social and economic advancement that they so deserve. It continues to resonate with donors and supporters, including with the city and the state. This month, I will have an exciting announcement about one of our latest gifts in just a few days on the 10th for our new art school. We're also expanding our partnership with the OR Group, a consultancy that is identifying and approaching appropriate foundations and other related prospects, working with about a dozen faculty. You know, at the end of the day, it isn't hard to sell people on Queens College. Our accomplished alumni and faculty do that for us. Daisy Coco de Filippis, for example, recently appointed president of the Eugenio Maria de Hostos Community College after serving as interim president, demonstrates what is possible for our graduates. A colleague I've come to know as a friend, she launched her career here with a bachelor's in Spanish and English literature and then a master's degree as well. Food historian Jessica Harris is both an alumna and a professor emerita. She's found new audiences since Netflix released High on the Hog, a 4-part streaming series based on her book of the same title, and Time magazine just named her to its list of 100 most influential people of 2021. This year's recipients of MacArthur Grants, the so-called Genius Grants, include filmmaker Alex Rivera, who is taught in the Department of Media Studies at Queens College. Our honorees today are another example. This academic year, the new schools of arts and business make their debut. These schools will be engaged in preparing students to enter sectors that constantly change. I want to thank Social Sciences Dean Kate Pachenkina and Arts and Humanities Dean William Suoshi McClure and the many faculty involved in creating these exciting initiatives for the outstanding work that they have done to develop the curriculum and to engage in shared governance to best serve our students. Exciting programs are also emerging from the We Learn So That We May Serve grant program. With the support of the Queens College Foundation, that program is awarding individual faculty members or teams up to $5,000 for integrating teaching, learning, and community service into their courses. It's popular these days, I know, to question the value of a liberal arts degree, but we are committed to assuring that the benefits of such a practical education aren't limited to our students alone. These are just some of the examples of the encouraging developments that we've been able to foster as we emerge into a relatively stable financial environment. Many of you have attended our Budget 101 seminars that have helped to broadly establish transparency and a greater understanding for everyone, faculty, staff, and students alike, of the fiscal realities and opportunities, where we get our money from and how we spend it. I'd like to thank our CFO, Joe Lochran, for continuing these programs this year. When I was appointed as your president a year and a half ago now, I said that to come here to Queens College was my dream job. That is no less true this moment as I stand before you on this stage. I knew that Queens College was located in the world's borough, the most diverse urban area on the face of the planet, educating immigrants, the sons and daughters of immigrants, many first-generation college attendees, people who, when I look at them, I see my parents and myself, as likely so many of you do. As I travel throughout the neighborhood, including by bicycle or running, I meet alumni, elected officials, civic, business, and religious leaders, all of whom have some connection to Queens College, even if they themselves didn't graduate here. And I continue to be inspired. Over Zoom and on campus, I'm similarly elevated by the aspirations of all of you, our faculty, students, staff, and alumni who appreciate the vital role that we play in the lives of all whom we serve. It's tangible. You can measure it. We lift individuals, families, whole communities. I'm blessed to be here with you as we chart a course that will take Queens College into the future with renewed optimism and hopes for the academic year and well beyond. Stay safe, healthy, and productive. Thank you so very much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you. We do have some questions, and I'm happy to answer them. They were submitted in advance. I believe a disembodied voice from on high will ask.
Okay. Thank you, President Wu, for that inspiring address. We have some questions from the college community. The first one is, describe what you hope to be your signature accomplishment while president of QC.
You know, anyone with a role such as this should always have an answer to a question such as that. And I'll say that there are three goals that I have. The first is student success for all students. That means diversity, equity, and inclusion, not as the catchphrase it's come to be known as, but with a true commitment in concrete terms, something that we can look at and say, we are doing better than we have in the past. We are doing better than our peers. We are actually living up to the ideals that we espouse. When the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. wrote his famous letter from a Birmingham jail, he exhorted his fellow clergy, white ministers in the pulpits throughout the Deep South, who, as Dr. King pointed out, when they spoke of racial justice and reconciliation. They spoke so movingly. And what he did, it was brilliant advocacy. He challenged them to live up to those words. So many, just about all responsible leaders. Yes, I know there may be some on the fringe who don't accept diversity, equity, and inclusion, but just about every one of us here, we know that this is not just what Queens College depends on in New York City, but it's the great American experiment that beckoned the world over, that drew us and our ancestors. Yet it isn't enough if it's just words. So the first goal, first and foremost and always, is to serve our students, all of our students, including those who aspire to be our students, who look across Casino Boulevard from the Pominock projects, who don't see us yet as welcoming people who look like them, who've had the upbringing that they've had. We can and we will do better. Second, it's to establish the School of Arts and Business. Those two endeavors, it's easy to talk about them. The planning has been underway for some time, even before I got here. But when you look at the Copeland School of Music, and here we are in Lefrak, when you look at all of our business programs, you realize that we have the pieces already. We just have to fit them together and then build on that foundation. Now, I know this will take some time, and the two are a little bit different. Full accreditation for a business school, I'm told, takes 8 to 10 years. But that takes me to my third goal, and I want to share it with you out of a sense of commitment, not out of a sense of my own ego. It is to be here with you, This job is the job that I want to have. It is not something I'm adding as a line to my CV so I can move on some other place. I would like to be here until I retire, and I don't intend to retire anytime soon, because it will take time working with all of you to achieve these goals. So it's all students, it's the art school, it's the business school, and it's to be resilient and good enough to earn your trust, to earn my keep, to be here, to see that these deeds are done, that they are not just the strategic plan for the next 5 years, but that they become the reality that we can point to when we stroll across this beautiful campus.
Thank you. Second question is, what inspired you to pursue a career in higher education, and what do you enjoy the most regarding your work?
You know, when I was young, I wanted to be an architect. I wanted to build a new world. And some of you have heard me speak, and I won't share the story today. It's not the right occasion. But when I was a teenager, there was a terrible hate crime that happened in my hometown of Detroit that set me on the path of standing up and speaking out, being an advocate, because I wanted to change the world using words. I wanted to persuade people. That's what led me to my profession in the law. My parents were skeptical because there just weren't people who we knew or who looked anything like we looked, who used words in English to persuade people. I still have that goal that I had many years since, to change the world, to make it a better place. And over time, I've come to see that what is most important is that that is not done by any single person. It's done by a team. And my role in that is to lead, which includes sometimes getting out of the way of people such as the provost and so many others who know their areas better than I do, but to bring together that team to change the world. And that is what gives me joy, to know that things are a little better than they were, and certainly now coming out of this pandemic, I'm amazed. It actually feels like I've already been here 13 years, most of them cooped up in my own apartment just a mile south of here. You know what I mean. The pandemic it's just unlike anything, and we're still experiencing the effects, and will continue to for the rest of our lives. So when we see the change, when I come into campus and I just see more students day after day, it seems like the number of people on campus doubles every day. And I perform one of the most important presidential functions, which is I direct students to the appropriate building for their class. When they see me strolling across campus, that's the most common reason that they accost me. It's to find out how to get here or there, not realizing that I'm still learning my way around, but we have sophomores who are setting foot on campus for the first time. And to see their joy at being able to do that, their excitement at coming here to learn, to improve their station in life, that is what it's all about.
This is a long three-part question. How are we going to get buy-in of our newly adopted mission statement? Do you see Queens College as a primarily research institution, a primarily teaching institution, or a hybrid of both? If the latter, how can we ensure that teaching, service, and DEI factor into the hiring, tenure, and promotion processes?
I'll address all of these, and I'll try to be brief. You've indulged me this afternoon. It's great to see so many of you in person and to know that so many more are watching. Let me return to the revised mission of Queens College. The mission of Queens College is to prepare students to serve as innovative leaders in a diverse world that they make more equitable and inclusive. I think we'll have buy-in because we already do. Because this is not my strategic plan, it's not the provost's strategic plan, this is our strategic plan. The consultant we hired, who has extensive experience both here at Queens College and throughout the CUNY campus, when she and I first met on Zoom, I said to her, I'd like to have 5 working groups with about 12 or 13 people each and a steering committee with 17. And in her wisdom, she suggested to me that was perhaps a few too many. She said, this is going to be messy. And that's okay, because democracy is messy. So this strategic plan was generated with actually well over 1,000 participants in the 11 town halls. So I must thank you. Just about everyone here contributed in their own way to that strategic plan. So it will have buy-in because it already does. And if you ask me, we do all of it. We do research and teaching and service. That's what our award winners exemplify. I've been trying to meet each and every one of them. They all are active as scholars. They create. They discover new knowledge. They do things that others haven't done before, and that's original, that has an impact in the world, and then they share it with students. And some of them create with students in their laboratories or on their art projects. So, every institution of higher education out there will tell you that they do all of this, research and teaching and service, but I've been at more than a few, and at most places it's just something they say. We have an amazing faculty here, and I see us as both a research institution and a teaching institution, and one that serves. One of the best parts of the strategic planning process is how we heard from you that in evaluating faculty for promotion and tenure, it was important to take into account whether they lived up to the service aspect of their job responsibilities. That came from the faculty themselves, and it was heartening because they also cited the importance of contributing to student success in a measurable, tangible way, and DEI, that these are important factors in evaluating faculty. And I know, too, that for some faculty, because of who they are, they bear a greater burden, much of it unacknowledged, because students seek them out, because the students feel a kinship, a bond, and there's no one else for them to turn to, and we need to be aware of that. So this is the right place, not just for me, but for all of us who care about what we say we care about, who want to put it into action. By the way, if you haven't checked out our Big Ideas at Queens College series on YouTube, please do that, because it highlights the excellent research work that our faculty are doing. I want to learn about it. I want to engage with you. You can teach me. I read papers in all sorts of fields. I have to confess I don't understand much of what I read. Dan Weinstein, for example, I'm constantly badgering him with questions about genetics or this or that, and he very patiently explains, because I want to support you in this research work. And the more of it that you're able to do with students joining you in the lab, the better. We're a place that is unique, that's different. We always have been. Since we opened our doors in 1937, at the core of the concept of Queens College was that everyone here would serve. And that is what has attracted me, and I know this is where I want to be and what I want to do. I think we have one last question.
Will commencements be in person?
Yes, that's a resounding yes. Commencement in 2022 will be in person. We're so excited to bring everyone back to campus, and that's a great way to close out this afternoon. Congratulations to all of our award winners. Many thanks to their family and friends and students for joining us, and great to see those of you live streaming this event as well. Thank you so very much.